Welcome back to Echoed Stories. Get comfortable, it's story time, let's dive in. I never thought I would be the guy to destroy a business I helped build. I'm a mechanic, not a lawyer, not a vigilante. I just want to fix cars, drink my coffee, and go home to my dog. But last month my boss crossed a line that you simply do not cross. And now his shop is permanently closed and he might be facing jail time. Here is how it happened. I have been the lead technician at Miller's Auto Repair for 7 years. Old man Miller was a saint. He taught me that an honest mechanic will never be rich, but he will never go hungry. But 6 months ago, Mr. Miller passed away. His son, let's call him Brad, took over. Brad is 30 years old, drives a leased BMW, and knows absolutely nothing about cars. He thinks a transfer case is a piece of luggage. To him, customers aren't people. They are wallets waiting to be emptied. Since Brad took over, the shop culture changed. He started pushing us to sell things people didn't need. Fluid flushes on cars with 10,000 miles. Cracked belts that looked brand new. I ignored him mostly. I have a reputation in this town and I'm not ruining it for his lease payments. Brad hated me for it, but he couldn't fire me. I was the only one certified to work on diesel engines and hybrids, but everything exploded last Friday. It was raining hard. A tow truck dropped off a 2008 Ford Ranger. I recognized the truck immediately. It belonged to Mrs. Higgins. She is a sweet lady about 75 years old. Her husband, Bill, used to bring this truck in before he died last year. Keeping this old truck running was her way of keeping Bill's memory alive. She lived on a fixed pension and baked cookies for the shop every Christmas. She came into the waiting room, shaking from the cold, looking absolutely terrified. Brad was at the front desk, smiling that fake shark-like smile. "I don't know what happened," Mrs. Higgins said, her voice trembling. "I was driving to the grocery store and suddenly there was a terrible loud noise from underneath. It sounded like the engine was exploding. I'm so scared I broke Bill's truck." Brad's eyes lit up. He smelled blood. "Don't worry," he said smoothly. "My best guy will look at it, but loud noises. That sounds expensive." I pulled the truck into the bay. I started the engine. It sounded like a machine gun. Asterisk rat-tat-tat-tat. Asterisk to an untrained ear, it sounds like a thrown rod or a destroyed piston. It sounds like the engine is dead. I put it on the lift and went underneath. It took me exactly 10 seconds to find the problem. It wasn't the engine. It was a heat shield on the catalytic converter. One of the metal clamps had rusted through, so the thin metal shield was just rattling against the exhaust pipe. The fix: a $2 hose clamp and 5 minutes of work, or if I wanted to be fancy, I could weld it. Total cost, maybe $20 for labor. I lowered the truck, wrote "loose heat shield easy fix" on the ticket, and walked to the front office. Brad was already typing on his computer. "Bad news?" Brad asked, not looking up. "No," I said. "Good news, just a rusted heat shield clamp. I can fix it for free, honestly, it takes 2 minutes." Brad stopped typing. He spun his chair around and looked at me. His face went cold. "No," he said. "What do you mean, no? Mrs. Higgins doesn't know what a heat shield is," Brad said, lowering his voice. "She thinks the engine is blown. She told me she has $2,000 saved up for emergencies. We are going to sell her a new catalytic converter, a new exhaust system, and, let's say, new engine mounts." I felt a knot form in my stomach. "Brad, you can't be serious. That's a $2 repair. She's a widow on a pension. That's robbery." Brad stood up. He was a tall guy used to intimidating people. "It is not robbery, it is business. I have overhead costs. I have bills. You will go out there, you will tell her the exhaust system is rotted through and dangerous, and you will write up a quote for $1,800. I stared at him. The sound of the rain against the window seemed to get louder. "I won't do it. Excuse me." I said I won't do it. I'm not stealing money from an old lady. Brad's face turned red. He stepped closer, getting right in my face. "Listen to me, grease monkey, you work for me. If you walk out that door and tell her the truth, you're fired. And I will make sure every shop in this county knows you're a thief. I'll ruin your reputation. Now go do your job." I stood there for a long moment. My heart was pounding. I needed this job. My wife is pregnant. We have bills too. But then I looked through the glass window into the waiting room. Mrs. Higgins was sitting there clutching her purse, looking at a photo of her late husband in her wallet. Something inside me snapped. It wasn't anger, it was clarity. "Okay, Brad," I said quietly. "You're the boss." Brad smirked. "Good boy, now get to work." I walked back into the shop, but I didn't go to the truck. I went to my toolbox. I took out my phone. I hit record. Then I walked back into the office, hiding the phone in my top pocket. "Brad," I said loudly, "just to be clear, you want me to remove a perfectly good exhaust system and charge Mrs. Higgins $1,800 for a rusted clamp? You want me to lie to her?" Brad rolled his eyes. "Yes, you idiot. How many times do I have to say it? She doesn't know the difference. It's free money. Just tell her the converter is clogged and dangerous. Scare her if you have to. Tell her the truck could catch fire. Just get the money." "Got it," I said. I stopped the recording. I turned around and walked straight into the waiting room. Brad yelled, "Hey, where are you going?" I sat down next to Mrs. Higgins. Brad came running out from behind the counter, looking panicked. "Mrs. Higgins," I said loud enough for the other two customers to hear, "your truck is fine. It's a rusted clamp. I can fix it right now for free. Brad here is trying to charge you $2,000 for parts you don't need." The room went silent. Mrs. Higgins looked at me, then at Brad. "What?" Brad screamed. "He's lying. He's disgruntled. He's fired. Get out of my shop right now." He grabbed my arm to pull me up. I shoved him back. "Don't touch me." I pulled out my phone and held it up. "I have you recorded, Brad, admitting to fraud, admitting to trying to scare an elderly woman to steal her savings." Brad's face went pale. He knew the laws in our state. He knew that automotive fraud is a felony. I looked at Mrs. Higgins. "Ma'am, let me pull your truck around. Go to Mike's Auto down the street. Tell them I sent you. They will put a clamp on it for $5. I tossed my shop keys on the floor. I quit. I walked out to the bay, threw my main tools into my car, and drove off. Brad didn't try to stop me. He was too busy trying to explain himself to the other customers who were now demanding their keys back. But the story doesn't end there. Remember, I said I'm not a vigilante. Well, maybe a little bit. That night I posted the audio recording on our local community Facebook group. I didn't add any commentary. I just captioned it. "This is how Brad at Miller's Auto treats widows." By morning, the post had 5,000 shares. The local news picked it up. By noon, the police were at the shop. Turns out, once people heard the recording, dozens of other customers came forward with stories of broken parts that Brad had forced them to replace. The State Bureau of Automotive Repair launched an immediate investigation. They audited his records. They found that he had been charging for premium parts and installing cheap knockoffs from eBay. 2 days ago, I drove past the shop. The open sign was gone. The windows were papered over. There was a legal notice from the state taped to the door. "Business suspended pending criminal investigation." Mrs. Higgins called me yesterday. She found my number through a friend. She was crying but happy tears. She told me she used that $2,000 to visit her grandkids instead. "I'm working at a new shop now. The owner is a grumpy old guy who yells when I leave a wrench on the floor, but he never, ever lies to a customer. Some people say I shouldn't have recorded my boss. They say I should have just quit quietly. But when I think about Brad's face when he told me to scare that old lady, I sleep just fine." Sometimes being a good employee means firing your boss.